professional actors don't spend most of their time memorizing their lines. Instead, they spend it on giving the lines meaning, making the words come alive.
But I hope you leave enough room for my fist, because I'm going to ram it into your stomach and break your goddamn spine!
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey kids, welcome to Grumpy Nostalgia, the Second Look Cinema podcast, the show where we go back to that blockbuster new release wall of our memory. We grab a copy off its shelf, we pop it in our VCR, we see what time has done to it. I'm Justin, that's Mike.
Who loves you?
And together we're here to help you navigate all those landmines littered down memory lane. So Mike, we survived another Halloween. We're out of the weeds now. So,
whew, yeah. Now, yeah, I got to my Halloween and All Saints Day, and everything's hunky-dory.
I had like 6 people in the neighborhood trick-or-treating this year. Like, no one really wanted to do it.
It was really cold for us at times. We had a little bit lower number too. I was shocked. You know, we usually get them bust in by the hundreds.
Yeah.
It was more like the dozens this year.
Plus, a bag of candy that you would hand out to trick-or-treaters would cost you $35 this year at Walmart.
Oh, no.
That's $70 to hand out candy this year. So, anyway, we digress. The horror isn't over, because we're still going to talk about a particular movie that we really liked a lot. This is given the new release of the new Running Man coming out this week in theaters. We thought we'd talk about the original, the OG. We're going to talk about The Running Man from 1987 instead, Mike.
That's right. This movie it's from 87 and it just screams it.
Yeah, I don't think it ever left 87. That's for sure.
No, it's part of, it's part of our 80s zeitgeist for sure.
It sure is. So, having said that, let's just kind of jump right in. This was directed by Paul Michael Glaser.
Sounds familiar.
That is Detective Starsky from Starsky and Hutch. Mike.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. He did a lot of TV after he left Starsky and Hutch, but he started out doing some movies, including The Cutting Edge and Kazam. Like, he did Kazam.
He did that Shaquille O'Neal vehicle. Okay.
He claims credit for it, at least.
I'm surprised he didn't become Alan Smithy after that one came out.
Yes, that was a tough one. But there you go. So he's a director now. This was written by Stephen King, of course, under the pseudonym of Richard Bachman. This is one of his first earlier movies. He wrote this in 1 week, the entire novel. So
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
His output. I mean, we'll talk about it later. I know, but the screenplay is, not the bad part of this movie for sure.
Well, the screenplay, speaking of that, was written by a guy named Steven D'Souza, who's a show regular for us by this point. He's also he's done a couple of our favorites. He did The Flintstones and Street Fighter, which he also won Razzies for. God bless him. He's also done Judge Dredd, Hudson Hawk, but he also squeezed in Die Hard and 48 Hours in there somehow. So
there you go.
He gets both ends of the spectrum there.
Hollywood writers really are yin yang kind of fellas, There's a lot of extremes with the hitting and missing going on in their careers.
I feel remiss we didn't proceed without talking about his other screenwriting credit, which is for television. He also wrote many of the episodes of the Gemini Man from NBC TV.
Oh, Ben
Murphy, of course. This had a $27 million budget, Mike. It was released in the fall, November 13th, in 1987.
I'm guessing a lot of the budget was spent on either Dynamo's costume or the sled, the sled technology they're using this one.
They spent a lot of money on Dynamo's costume, but I guess they ran out of money for pants.
Whoa.
We'll get to that here in a little bit. All right, so this movie is just a fever dream of a movie, right, Mike? So let's talk about some of the people that pushed it along. Let's talk about the cast.
Oh yeah, we have the reteaming, and we'll find out here when this movie was actually released. I don't know if it came out before Predator or after, but we got the teaming of Ventura and Schwarzenegger again, so that's always good. And you have Jesse the Body and Arnold.
It was actually moved out about 4 months, so it wouldn't conflict with the release of Predator early that year in July. Okay,
cool. Well, you have the two governors. It's funny in this one, Schwarzenegger, who plays Ben Richards, our hero, actually says the line, he's not into politics, which I enjoyed.
That's funny.
And I'm starting to see a pattern here. We saw it in, obviously, Total Recall, but is his fondness for Latino-looking women.
Yeah.
Here it's Maria Conchita Alonso. And it's funny how art sneaks into real life when you think that like his famous affair and love child he had with one of his nannies. That was kind of big news in California a few years ago.
En la próxima palabra te largas, ¿me entendiste? Y no hablas español, te largas.
And then you have Mick Fleetwood, which I had no memory of him being in this movie. Mick Fleetwood, famous founder of Fleetwood Mac and drummer. Yep. He plays a character named Mick. So, and has a lot of. It kind of looks like I almost want to say kind of makeup you would see like it just didn't.
it looked like someone like cosplaying as Mick Fleetwood.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, he looked like Alistair Sim or something. It just really looked odd.
Yeah.
But his assistant is Dweezil Zappa, which is even weirder that they got another musical figure that's the son of Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
Maria Conchita Alonso, as previously mentioned, she plays Amber. We saw her in Predator 2, which hopefully we'll see again soon. Yeah. And apparently she finally got her wish. She gets to act with Schwarzenegger in this one. Yaphet Kotto, I never pronounced his name right. He was the famous villain in Live and Let Die. Also in Alien, he's one of the victims of Alien.
Oh yeah, he's great. Yeah.
He's fabulous actor. He plays one of the buddies of Schwarzenegger that's kind of delivered. I don't remember if he was Weiss or Laughlin, but he's Laughlin, I believe.
He was Laughlin, yeah.
And then you have a whole stable of pseudo wrestlers, sports guys that play these stalkers, which are chasing after our buddies. You have Professor Tanaka, from WWE fame.
That's right.
He plays Professor Sub-Zero in this one, so real acting stretch for him. It's kind of weird. It's kind of off-putting to see a Japanese guy wielding a hockey stick, but I guess it works, Then you have the aforementioned Jesse Ventura, who plays Captain Freedom, who also has another show in this dystopian universe of the Running Man, where he's like an aerobics instructor. Whose famous line is, "Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering?" Which I thought would be a good tagline the next time we do like a review of a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie or something like that. You had Buzzsaw and Dynamo, who like you said, he's I remember the guy being in Stir Crazy, and that's the only I can't remember either one of these two guys' names, but I just remember him being a big guy that Gene Wilder befriends in that movie, and like.
Most memorable parts of that movie.
Yeah, real scary dude. And one of the most memorable parts of this movie we just watched was his scene there where he gets offed at the end, where he doesn't have any pants on, and but for some reason he still has all his electrical gear still on, which it comes in very handy if a sprinkler system's turned on. You had the guy that does the voice of Squidward. Currently in SpongeBob SquarePants, he's an announcer for the Running Man TV show in this one, Roger Bumpus, and not sure about his dogs. And but
they're sons of bitches, I hear.
That's right. And then I have to mention these two. They weren't in the movie, but you have Harold Faltermeyer, who he has graced us with some of the best '80s soundtracks. Notably probably Beverly Hills Cop, but He has his keyboards, dialed up to 11 in this movie. And Paula Abdul, you have her doing choreography for the dancers that appeared during the little breaks during the Running Man TV show we're watching. Right. And but for me, this movie, it begins and ends with Richard Dawson, who's the villain. They pull no punches with this guy. He's the kind of guy who would steal candy from a baby and like kick your dog. They immediately establish this guy's an a-hole from the very start. You might know him from Hogan's Heroes, where he's actually kind of a friendly English sergeant character that's held at the Stalag, 13. Right. But most famously, he's a game show host of Match Game, and he was the host of Family Feud for years. And most famously, from what I remember, he married a contestant on the show, and they actually had a kid together. So I thought
I didn't know that.
But he comes on as such a likable guy. He kisses all the contestants on Family Feud, all the girls, maybe a guy once or twice. But in this show, like I said, in the movie Running Man, he just comes out such a great villain, from the Hans Gruber school of villainy, and it's fantastic. Like I said, he kind of makes the movie for me. So that's your cast.
As is most of the case with most of the movies we talk about, especially during this era, the movies are generally just as good as their villain, and he just completely pulled it off. So you're right. So thank you, Mike. Just a couple other notes about the movie. So we talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Of course, this is a starring vehicle for him. This is when Arnold was as big as he could get. This is also turned down by Dolph Lundgren for some reason. Patrick Swayze and Christopher Reeve were also considered for this role. We talked about Richard Dawson. So a much looked after role in Hollywood. Burt Reynolds was originally the forerunner to get this, but he ultimately turned it down. He just didn't feel the script was worth of his caliber. They also wanted to get Chuck Woolery, but he also turned it down. I guess he had other things to do.
Okay, yeah. He wouldn't have been the Running Man. He would have been the the Killian role, I guess.
Right. He'll be back in 2 and 2. All right. So this, we mentioned this was moved a few months ahead. This was kind of shot in tandem with Predator, but they didn't want those two to conflict.
Wow.
So it's not to after Thanksgiving. Andrew Davis, who directed The Fugitive, was the original director of this, but he actually saw the writing on the wall and kind of moved on to do other things. Stephen King's book, The Running Man, written as Richard Bachman, takes place during 2025, actually, Mike. So that's appropriate, I suppose. The movie itself takes place from 2017 to 2019. So this has already happened, Mike. And we got on the body count here, we got 41 deaths. Some more gruesome than the others. But
does that count the Bakersfield Massacre?
It does. So,
wow.
41 deaths in the movie back then was nothing to sneeze at. So speaking of movies, in theaters back in 1987 when this came out, you had Less Than Zero and Ruskies, Mike, were tearing up the screen. This was released on the 13th, of course, with the Howling 3. Another werewolf movie. We can't get away from these things, Mike.
Oh, wow.
A couple weeks after, you had Plane, Trains, and Automobiles and 3 Men and a Baby, and that just kind of took over the box office. Prince's Sign of the Times came out as well, but it did nothing. It came and went. Big year for movies, of course. In '87, the number one film that year was Beverly Hills Cop 2. You had Platoon, which also won the Oscar for Best Picture that year. Number 3 was Fatal Attraction. Number 4 was The Untouchables, which we have not covered yet for some reason, which is in our radar.
Yeah, our Platoon, yeah. Work to do.
And then, of course, the previous mentioned 3 Men and a Baby came out as number 5. The Running Man was only number 30.
Wow. I mean, with like you said, a budget of $27 million. I mean, did it flop?
No, it ended up doing about $40 million altogether.
Okay.
I think it's kind of misleading when you talk about box office results because they go by calendar year. So if something's released in November or December, it just doesn't count. But very confusing. What wasn't confusing, of course, was the music scene, Mike. So music was really starting to pinnacle from a cultural standpoint. On the charts the week that this movie came out, you had the number one song was Heaven is a Place on Earth by Belinda Carlisle.
Oh, it is.
Her first solo effort from the Go-Go's. The number 2 song was I've Had the Time of My Life by Bill Medley and Jennifer Warrens.
We haven't done, yeah.
We just keep putting Baby in a corner. We don't care. We're not afraid. I Think We're Alone Now by Tiffany.
The mall song, shopping mall favorite.
Yeah, so there's another cover song. Believe it or not, she did not write that song.
Oh, no.
And I think she followed up with another cover of I Saw You Standing There, right? With the Beatles.
Yeah, she did.
Kids back in our day, teenagers would replicate catchy tune, and they'd sing it in malls. They just go to the mall, which you don't know what that is, but it's a collective gathering place where people would get around and shop and spread diseases and all that stuff. And
they used to have fashion shows for husky boys.
They do it for the children. Not to be outdone, we also had Shake Your Love by Debbie Gibson, which was the blonde version of Tiffany.
That's right.
It was funny. She had a little interesting career path where she disavowed her earliest teeny bopper past and wanted to be referred to as Deborah Gibson.
Yes.
And she went on Broadway and stuff like that. But she's come around. She's learned to embrace the Debbie part. And she's more than happy to be called that now.
I mean, the fact that her and Tiffany can star in a sci-fi movie together is just a sign of the times.
I see what you did there. Very nice. Remember that night we stayed up all night and watched the Dragon Con. We watched that double feature. That was just fantastic.
What was it? It was like the piranha thing. It was like the crocodile. It was an alligator versus.
It was a crocodile versus the python.
The anaconda. It was python.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
In Florida swamps. Yeah.
And Mickey Dolenz ended up eaten by the crocodile. Crocodile ate a monkey. Some other things going on in '87. This was the year we first invented Prozac and Red Bull at the same time. I don't know if there's a correlation there or not. Unfortunately, this is the year that the keyboard cat died, Mike, and in real life, his name was Fatso. For those that remember, in the early days of the internet, there was this meme of the keyboard playing cat, and then memes kind of took over the rest of the world after that. We're all reading the Tommyknockers, another Stephen King novel that novelization turned into a miniseries on ABC, I believe, right?
That's right. Jimmy Smith special.
Not good at all. On the TV, we're watching Who's the Boss and Growing Pains. This is the year that North Carolina adopted milk as its official state beverage, Mike. But if you look around, I think it's a Sundrop. I don't think anybody's not drinking Sundrop in North Carolina.
That or Cheerwine. Yeah, I don't know where milk came from. It's silly.
For those regional elites, if they're not familiar with Sundrop, Sundrop is the southeast version of Mountain Dew. It's got about 3 times the sugar and about 6 times the caffeine, and we just love it down here. Gas was only 95 cents a gallon back in '87. We also started the first all sports radio channel, WFAN, out of New York, launched, lowering the bar of broadcast standards exponentially by 24/7 all sports radio.
Let's be honest, folks. I mean, this was a colossal mistake, an utter disgrace by ownership, okay? And I don't want to hear John Mara come out now and say that it's a disgrace. You didn't get a running game for your quarterback. You didn't draft an offensive line. Jeez. And to go on and have your quarterback get killed, nearly killed, week after week.
Bring out the best of the male gene, for sure.
Right.
And then this is the year that the Golden Girls won the Emmy for Best Comedy on television, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Bringing out the best in the female gene pool. How many times do you have to see him eat cheesecake on the lanai?
Well, thank you for being a friend, Mike. I appreciate that. So I think we've reminisced about '87 long enough. It was a pretty painful year altogether. So why don't we just get to it? So, Mike, you ready to hit the theater?
Let's do it.
All right. So, Mike, why don't you hit the button? This starts in the great dystopian year of 2017, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Where we're informed that the government has collapsed. And this movie made a lot of silly predictions that in no way came to fruition, like media controlled state and paramilitary zones and a censored press and their authority that flaunts democracy. None of that happened now, of course. That was complete fiction.
LA is completely a dump. Yeah. Oh wait, that did happen.
Yeah, you don't see jackbooted thugs in the theater asking people for papers. Oh wait, never mind. But it starts with the chopper, Mike.
But you can fly to Anaconda, Chile, so that's pretty good.
that is true. But Arnold comes in on his chopper.
Get to the chopper!
He's flying. He's the helicopter pilot, and he plays one of the peacekeepers, and he's flying in to investigate this kind of public riot for food, and they're flying over the Hollywood Hills. And it was interesting.
Bakersfield.
They stole some original helicopter footage from the 1976 King Kong to borrow some of the film from that. So they ripped off some scenes from King Kong. So there you go.
Did you think it was odd in the movie that they never really...
Yes. Just yes.
They never really referenced Los Angeles, but they referenced Bakersfield. And then all the names in the airport were made-up locations. I didn't know what they were going for. Like, they were trying to make it, like a fictional dystopian nightmare, but then you're like, this is LA, right? They even mentioned Wilshire District, and it's like, okay.
Wilshire's been turned into a prison, right? So anyway, he gets the order to kind of like murder all these people, like this open fire on him. He doesn't want to do that because he's Arnold and he's the hero. So he denies orders and starts fighting with people inside the chopper. They pull a gun on him while he's flying the plane, which is smart. And he ends up fighting everybody, and they use some AI to gaslight the public into saying that he went in and killed all these people, blamed him. He gets wrongly accused for killing all these people. And then he wakes up like 18 months later in Wilshire prison, and he's been given the moniker of the Butcher of Bakersfield, Mike. He's the most despised serial killer in the United States.
That's right. So let's let him work in a prison and
Yeah.
work with steel somehow.
Yeah, so he's out doing chores in the yard. He's befriended Yaphet Kotto and with this guy named Weiss, who looks eerily like the internet phenomenon Luke from the Outdoor Boys. Their goal is to they're part of the resistance. They want to take down the government, and they've been working with some underground operations to kind of take down the grid. And they manufacture this prison break, and it goes well at the start, where they kind of circumvent
a lot of railing
a
kills.
lot of railing kills. Of course, they wear a collar around their neck, and that serves as like the
Yeah, Chico got his head exploded.
Yeah, that was fun to see that guy whose head blow up. But he escapes, and he kind of meets up with the counter resistance and makes some plans to do their dirty work. And he decides the best thing for him to do is to get to Mexico to leave the country. So he goes back to his brother hotel and finds that he's no longer there, and it's inhabited by Maria Conchita Alonso, who is a musical producer at the network, and he figures that it's easier just to kidnap her and take her to the airport as leverage to escape. And he gets caught, of course, Mike, and he gets put into custody. Richard Dawson, who is the host of a show called The Running Man, it's the biggest show in America, Mike, and it involves putting a person in a jail cell.
It's the biggest show in the world.
Yeah.
According to the ICS broadcasting system.
Yeah.
He also produced the Hate Boat. Don't you like that?
Right. I love that.
I love
show.
that poster in his office.
But he decides that he wants. It's a reality show where he has to survive a certain amount of days, and if he survives, he wins cash and prizes, and if he doesn't, people can win bets and see him get killed. And Richard Dawson is the biggest celebrity in the country for having done this. So it's funny. A lot of people that knew Richard Dawson in real life, as the kids say, said that people that associate with him behind the scenes to say that he was very much like his character in real life as he portrayed. Like when the cameras went off, he did not treat his underlings very well, apparently. But that's a speculation on our part. But
wild speculation.
Yes, but anyway, back to the story. So Richard Dawson notices him, and he says he would be an ideal candidate to have on the show. And because he, has got such ties to the government, he calls the State Department and forces them to give up Ben Richards to star on his show. And then the next thing you know, Arnold is dropped in, and he's processed, and he's given a couple shots that really go nowhere. There's a scene here where they give him a bunch of shots, I guess, to cripple him or to decrease his effectivity as a villain.
I don't know what the barium's supposed to do.
Yeah, I don't know what that is either, but they kind of soften him up and kind of increases odds of getting captured in the show. But he makes him sign a contract, and next thing you know, he leveraged him to be on the show, and it's showtime, baby.
Yeah, don't you love the little dance number at the start? Didn't it remind you of a Space Mutiny dance?
It was wonderful, and as you mentioned, Harold Faltermeyer did all the music, and Paul Abdul did all the choreographed dancing numbers, which went on forever.
Yeah,
my God. I know they're trying to pad out 100 minutes on this film, but after the 6th or 7th consecutive minute of people dancing,
I know. And they just
Unitards like, okay.
And the dances were like they had armadillos in the trousers or something.
We've got, armadillos in our trousers. I mean, it's really quite frightening.
It was just kind of.
Yes, it was not pleasant.
No.
But it drew a lot of comparisons to me, at least, for someone that hates the NFL. That level of pregame entertainment is it's not that much different than the 7-hour pregame to the NFL game. But
Big Sunday, we can't use that word. Don't use it.
Yeah, sorry.
Big Sunday.
There you go. All right, so the premise of this thing is he gets put in these different zones, and he's got to survive a hunter, and the audience gets to participate, and Dawson goes up and kisses a bunch of people and older ladies, and the first person that she picks is Sub-Zero, and that's Professor Tanaka. He comes out because Asians have really embraced hockey, Mike. But his shtick is he comes out there with a
such an odd choice, such an odd, just yeah.
So he opts out there, and they're running for their lives, and he's the first kill. This is the first time that Arnold kind of twists the tables and actually kills Professor Tanaka live on the air, Mike.
I love how they pick them, and then all of a sudden they have his ice rink ready to go, and our contestants go right into his rink.
Yeah. So in the interest of time, the movie just kind of shuffles through a bunch of it kind of in sequence. Just the whole second act is just him going through all the hunters. So the first one, of course, is the Asian Sub-Zero. Then you get Dynamo, who comes out. He's the big fat guy from Popeye, who, and also in the Gene Wilder movie we mentioned earlier. He's lit up with LEDs, which weren't even a thing at that point. But he uses electricity, and he's spared when his vehicle overturns. But that shows the humanizing part of Arnold. He won't kill this guy who's helpless, which kind of wins some of his points, wins over the crowd a little bit here. Then he goes through and he kills Dynamo, cuts him in half with the chainsaw from the bottom up, which is really nice. He also kills James Brown.
I forgot about Jim Brown. Yeah, Fireball.
Jim Brown comes out of retirement as the NFL running back, and he's got a flamethrower, and he quickly gets blown up by that. And as all these,
and mercifully, he only has like 2 lines of dialogue.
Yeah, he's not the thespian we were hoping for, probably.
Acting brilliant. Thank you.
In the carnage here, we obviously lose Yaphet Kotto and the other guy Lice, but he's got the code now. So his idea is his goal is to get to the end and upload the code, which is conveniently placed inside the gaming arena. During all this carnage, Maria Conchita Alonso starts to suspect that things aren't right. So she, as being part of the network, she goes down into the film room and finds the actual footage of Arnold not shooting people and trying to prevent it. So she's got the original, video footage, and she gets caught. And rather than expose that kind of risk, she gets thrown in there with him, Mike. So she's.
I'm very glad too that ICS, still kept the original footage for someone to easily find in a drawer. That was very convenient.
Yeah, they even alphabetize it and everything. You can go right handy. To it. So now he's got Maria down there with him, and they're
my goodness, did they get her fitted into that bodysuit with her name emblazoned on the?
That was really quick,
Yes, that was. I don't know whoever their seamstress is at ICS, needs a separate gig,
Yeah, so and none of these unitards leave much to the imagination for either gender. So let's get that out of the way. So there you go. So as all these forces, all these American gladiators are getting killed, you see the greatest gladiator of them all is Jesse Ventura. He's sitting backstage watching this very pensively, seeing all his friends get killed, and he really wants to get back in the fray. But the show has kind of turned into this like commercialized crazy thing that he doesn't agree with anymore. But at the end, there's no one left to go to, and Richard Dawson calls him to step out of retirement and come in and take care of evil Arnold here. And this kind of exposes like all the gaslighting and all that stuff that this network's been doing to the American public. We'll get that here in a minute. So they know that Arnold can't be beaten by Jesse, so they decide to do like an AI rendering of a stuntman that Jesse goes there and fights, and they overlay Arnold's appearance over the stuntman, and they rebroadcast as if Jesse has killed Arnold live on the air.
Biggest thrill for me was when we hit wardrobe, and I happened to view Arnold's wardrobe tape, and when my arms taped out 1 inch bigger than Mr. Olympia's, that made Jesse Ventura feel pretty good.
And much to their surprise, the American public is upset that this villainous Arnold has been killed, and they start to think something's up. And then, of course, as these things usually go, the truth gets exposed. They finally get to the end of the arena, meet up with, they rendezvous with Mick Fleetwood and Dweezil Zappa. They upload the code, and they submit the entire nation the real footage of Arnold being sabotaged, and just they show the real footage, and the American public, bless their hearts, won't have it, Mike. They revolt. The third act is just a lot of carnage where the show's producers unleash the Gestapo, and they try to just open fire with machine guns. What I thought was funny, Mike,
I'll go. What's that? Go ahead.
The machine guns sounded like shotguns.
Yeah. There was no actual repeating fire on these things, and they had a very light force guarding this multi-million-dollar production. It was like this. Yeah. There's a few dudes wandering the hallways and a couple on the stage, and it was like, wait, you're not prepared for this, Yeah.
So about 30 of the 41 deaths are here just by people would run out in the middle of the area to get shot more easily, and then railing kill or fall down the stairs after they've been shot, and it's very, very, very disturbing. But at the end, Arnold has swore his vengeance against Richard Dawson. He says, "I'm coming back to get you." He even used the phrase "I'll be back." Not very clever, but so at the end, he puts Dawson in the same chute, the little ride that they use to expel people into the gaming arena. That chute at super fast speeds, but for some reason his chute didn't have the safety net.
No, safety net was gone, and
so
it explodes. Yeah, it's incredible.
They send him down the mystery luge, and he goes like 7,000 miles an hour, and he smashes into a billboard of himself, and he explodes, even though there's no explosive anywhere to be seen.
I guess that Cadre Cola billboard must have been like just laced with some kind of nitroglycerin.
Yeah, so the bad guys have been exposed. The nation has been woken up to the slumber they've been in. They've seen the government as a bunch of liars and thieves and gaslighters and decepting them. And it plants the seed that better days are yet to come, right? And Maria and Arnold, little smooch, and they walk off into the sunset. And there's your movie.
Broadcast keeps going, apparently.
Oh boy! so let's talk about awards and accolades while we still have anything left in our body. So this had an $8 million opening, so not too bad. It ended up doing a $38 million domestic haul, so that's pretty good. Made it a hit. It was not carried by a major studio, so it wasn't released to an international audience till several months later, almost a year later in some cases. So it made a couple of more $1,000 with an additional release, but the majority of that was the domestic here in the United States. We're getting a sequel, as we talked about before, with Stephen King's Blessing. This was from 2025. I think it hits theaters next week. It's called The Running Man, starring Glenn Powell and a cadre of other people. That looks relatively interesting. I might give it a shot. I don't know. But given my most recent watch of this one, I think there's only one way to go up. So we'll see how that goes. The Richard Bachman series of books, there was 4 of those. I think 3 of those 4 have been made into films now. I think the other were the Thinner and The Long Walk, which is also coming in theaters now. I can't wait to see
it. It already came and went, walked away.
Yeah, the 4th one is called Rage, which I don't think you'll be seeing that in theaters anytime soon. I think the focus of that is about a school shooting where a guy goes crazy in a school and shoots up his class, and I don't think you're going to be seeing a film adaptation.
Too close to real life.
Anytime, we don't need to see that anymore, I think. This really didn't win any awards or accolades, Mike. You'd be surprised. Did not win any kind of Razzies or anything like that. It just kind of came and went. It did kind of lay the foundation for the American show American Gladiators, Mike, if that's a good thing. I don't know. It was the inspiration for one of the greatest video games of all time by Williams called Smash TV, which featured a multiplayer co-op where you could step into an arena and shoot a bunch of people and win cash and prizes on a television show. So that was kind of cool. Ate a lot of my quarters as a team. So there you go. That's kind of the legacy of this film.
Did you ever, they never had a show spinoff called Climbing for Dollars where dogs try to bite you as you go up a rope?
No. Might want to check Japan. Maybe Japan has taken a lot of this. Yeah. All that really matters is what your host, the Grumpy Nostalgia, feel about the movie. This is where we call our Grumpy Meter. This is where we go back and watch these movies from the 70s to the 90s, and when we watch them as young film fans in our formative years to see how they were, and then we watch them again through the eyes of grumpy old jerks to see how our feelings change one way or the other. So, Mike, why don't you head us off? How do you talk about your first view and your most recent watch, and what changed, if anything?
This was one of those, again, a classic HBO watch for me after the fact. It was, after it was in the theaters. I guess, again, it's one of those, I wish I could remember what it was to watch it back in 87 or 88 when I actually saw it, and try to remember what it was like to be in the 80s, because this movie's just lousy with 80s kind of feel to it, and the the off-putting exposition dump at the start with the weird computer font on like a red background, and it had you mentioned this screenwriter had also done a screenplay of Judge Dredd, and it had a little bit of that for me in it, but like I said, it was just so dated. My wife Lydia was watching a little bit of it, and she saw the hairstyles and the people watching the show. Like, oh, this must be from the 80s. I was like, yeah. And it's why I'm kind of mildly excited about a remake. I mean, I feel like this is the kind of movie that a remake a good remake could really improve, because it
Yeah.
just seems so dated. And a lot of it is just the technology. There's so many concepts in it, like the producers able to shape the face to make it look like,
Yeah.
our hero actually gets killed, and show that to the public as real film.
Yeah.
That's such a neat idea, and such a current day kind of idea that just works really well. And the story itself, like you say, it spawned kind of the American Gladiator concept. I think that's pretty cool to actually have a game show where,
Yeah.
kind of like prisoners can go. You can get if you make it, you're free. And have these guys chasing them. Although when you're actually watching and the real concept, these stalkers, it would seem to be pretty easy to beat them. There's a lot of dark alleys and places you can just grab a random flare or a barrel of gasoline. I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah.
It isn't like you're just in an empty canvas ring. You actually have a lot of stuff you can use to beat up these guys. And I don't know how they had all these unbeaten records, but hey, whatever. I guess that's why we need Schwarzenegger. But in the end, I love the idea. It's just, for watching it now, it's a tough watch. Honestly, it's a well done story, and it's a story well done. It's just not for 2025 in my book. It's still enjoyable, but not as much as I would have liked it back in the day. It's just, and I think we've had a couple movies like this where it just, when you said $27 million budget, I was like a little shocked, because other than some of the little, the technology they use in TV screens, I don't see where a lot of it went, other than like Schwarzenegger's salary,
Yeah, I think you're right. So,
but still, I got to give it a thumbs up. It's still a good movie. It's just, like I say, you have to watch it with kind of a jaundiced eye and just know, hey, this is a product. Even the John Parr song at the end. I mean, it's not St. Elmo's Fire worthy. It was a real stinker. It's still a good movie. It's just like I said, I have to watch it and through the eyes of a grumpy 55-year-old.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there, Mike. That's kind of what I felt too. I watched this, of course, when I was, in my teens, of course, and this came out when I was 16, and I probably saw it a year later. I did not see it in the theater, but this was from that no analysis era of film, where things were just films. They were just out there. They weren't up for criticism a whole lot. People just went and this is like you would, you take your brain out. It's a brain out type thing. And we just welcomed everything with, no pretext was required. We just kind of watched what this was, and we just watched for enjoyment, and it did the job.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what it's supposed to do. So when I watched it, back in the late 80s, I thought, this is fun. This is a neat thing for Arnold to kill a bunch of people, and the premise was kind of cool. But I just kind of left it there, and I was on to the next movie. I didn't really it wasn't earth shattering.
Yeah, I feel like some of those scenes existed just to do the Arnold catchphrases too.
How can we write a scene so we can end this with some sort of one-liner at the end? Just engineer it backwards, which is fine. I watched it again, a couple nights ago, and I think I mark it the same way, probably about a 3 out of 5. Still a thumbs up for me. But it was sort of the same. I just cheated, and I didn't look at this from as analytical as I was probably supposed to. You can't really after the first 4 or 5 minutes, like, okay, this is just going to be one of those things again, and it just took me back to that safe little zone from 1987 where I used to watch movies just for watching movies. It was just silly. And what I did notice from my most recent viewing, it had kind of like a bless your heart approach to some social commentary. I know it was trying to do. It was trying to talk about, big government and overstepping their reach, and all that kind of stuff. And I saw themes that were really cool that could really be fleshed out. Like, in the book, there is no arena. It's just the United States, and he has to get from California to Maine or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And if you provide information to where he's running, if you see him, you get money too. So it's in everybody's best interest to make sure that he fails. So it's one of those things where it's just it was probably looked. I'm curious to see if the new movie picks up on that at all. But for 100 minutes worth of your time, it was pretty good, and it was in color, so that's good too.
That helps. I was going to say. And if you want to say analytical, it's funny. Actually, watching this time, I was thinking I felt bad for the Gladiator guys because they watched this video of Schwarzenegger as a helicopter pilot killing all these innocent people in this food riot. And then I'm thinking, wow, these guys had no idea this guy's really the good guy. And then when they go in there, you're like, really want Buzzsaw to saw him in half? Because I mean, but he has no idea. He thinks this guy murdered 40 people.
They're used to like killing murderers and pedophiles and rapists, and But there you go. Every once in a while, you run into one that wrongly accused, and that really
that ruins your show, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't think the book had those characters, and it wasn't so much of a TV show. But I'm curious to see, as a remake, what this can produce
for modern sensibilities.
Yeah. So remakes are interesting for us because we cover an era of film that's been very remakeable. We talked a little bit on a few shows back where about almost half of the movies we've covered have been remade just in the time we've been doing the podcast. So that's interesting. And the most recent one, of course, is no exception. They're going to be producing a new version of The Running Man here this week. But that got us thinking about this phenomenon in Hollywood where they take films and they remake them, and then it's believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, but and it's really, and we've had this conversation before, which I really enjoyed, but it's really up to the audience that it's designed to decide which version is better. And it creates a lot of controversy, especially with present company included. We generally take it pretty poorly when films get remade, and then when we review others people review of the remake saying it's better, we get really mad, and we answer the question, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What you talking about? What you talking about, Rabbi? What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? What you talking about, Dad? What you talking about, Mister?
What are you talking about?
What you talking about, Mo? What you talking about, everyone?
So for this week's of What Are You Talking About, we're going to review the 10 remakes that are better as defined by the users of BuzzFeed, which is one of my least favorite internet sites of all time. But I thought we'd go through the top 10 here, Mike, and then just real quickly here, and then we can kind of have a few talking points about each one and see if we agree or not. So here we go.
BuzzFeed just made the list.
Yeah, so just strap yourselves in. So the number 10 film that they feel is better is the Willy Wonka. The 05 version is better than the 1974 version. I thought we'd just kind of loosen ourselves up here a little bit by using that first. So that just got us really mad. We covered Willy Wonka on the podcast, and we turned out to be one of our highest rated shows ever. And there's no reason that we feel there's no surprise why. That's a very beloved movie by a lot of people of our generation.
Right.
We talked a great deal about how the 05 version just didn't really hit all the marks as it should have. But Mike, what do you feel about this one being rated higher than the original Gene Wilder?
Just to keep it short, I think we filed it under the heading of there was no need to make this movie, and that's the way I felt about it. It was. And in the hands of someone like Tim Burton, it just becomes too dark and creepy.
Yeah.
The original was creepy enough, but there's the humor in it, and just there's a childlike sensibility to it, whereas the other one just comes off as a creepy child's movie for people who don't like children.
Yeah. So there you go. Well, to me, it's just an argument. What do you bring to the table? What's new? And I didn't really see a whole lot there, and so there you go.
No need.
So wrong. Number 10 is wrong. Number 9, we've got Dune from 2021 being better than Dune of the original 1984, and I can agree with that one. I think.
Yeah, I have no problem. I think the best thing about the Villeneuve's version is the fact that he broke it into 3 movies. I think that was the smartest thing you could do. That original David Lynch movie is weird, quirky, and kind of it's interesting for its time.
Yeah, certainly.
But there's so much jumps that if I'd actually read Herbert's book, I would be genuinely angry if I'd saw that movie condensed into that 2-hour movie.
I think if they lived in a more cavalier time in Hollywood where they had already agreed to make this 2 movies, back in 1984, it might have been a different story, but it's not without its charms. We've covered that one as well, and we had a great time doing that one, and I really enjoyed that. So we're going to go okay with that one. Next one here is just for you, Mike, because I haven't seen either version, so I knew you had an affiliation with this movie, so I don't want to bring it up. They feel that The Father of the Bride from 1991 is better than the one from 1950 with Spencer Tracy.
See, it's the fact that it's just an old movie, and people just like the idea of people they know in the movie. I'm going to leave it at that. Nobody can really say, "Wow, Elizabeth Taylor and Spencer Tracy." They I don't know. That one's a tough one because for me, that feels just plainly a generational choice. And maybe it's the fact the original's in black and white. I don't know if that's the problem, but it's not as, maybe doesn't have the same kind of humor. I don't, whatever. I strongly disagree, and I would encourage our audience to, watch the original.
All right, we're going to call that a push.
Okay.
All right, so that's neither here nor there. All right, so the next one on the list here is number 7. We're gonna say that the Fly from 1986 with Jeff Goldblum is better than the 1958 version with Vincent Price. How do you feel about that one?
I agree. In a way that the fact that just it's a Nolan's movies is kind of like The Running Man. It's hurt a little bit by the technology from the original. And kind of it almost, after looking at it compared to the the Goldblum version, it almost looks silly in a way. And I hate to use that word, but it it really does. Some sci-fi movies just do not translate from the 50s. I know it was probably one that should have been redone, and it was redone with body horror and everything really well.
Yeah, when David Cronenberg brought something new to that, right? And that's kind of what, going back to the other one, he brought something new to the table. Again, the original one's not without its charm. Everybody knows the help me ending, with the little face superimposed on the little... So terrible. But we're going to agree with that one. So that's another yes, we agree. All right, so here, it's a little more complicated now. So we're going to talk about the next one, number 6. We're going to talk The Mummy from 1999 is better than the Boris Karloff version from 1932.
I'm going to have to abstain of touch because I've never seen the original. I've always wanted to see all the Dark Universe kind of movies, but that is one I've never seen. So I'm going to abdicate to whatever you say.
Okay. Well, we of course we have covered The Mummy, and we had a great time doing that one. It was a fun watch.
A genuine fun movie. Yeah.
We lampooned that one viciously, but we still enjoyed watching it, which is kind of the point of this show.
That was loving criticism. Yeah.
But I think it's just apples and oranges. Those were 2 different movies. One was a chaotic adventure movie. The other one was this atmospheric horror movie. The Mummy is one of my favorite Universal original horror films of all time. It's very underrated. People don't watch it much compared to like Dracula or The Wolfman and things like that. But it is exponentially more creepy. But I think comparing those two, it's not really a remake because it follows a whole other storyline.
Yeah,
and it's
only.
So of course there's a Mummy that's brought back to life, but that's about where it ends. So I'm just going to say that that's a disqualification. That one just doesn't count. So, all right, let's go bring it home here. Number 5 here is Ocean's 11 from 2001 versus the original one for the Rat Pack from 1960.
Oh man, it was a tough one. The remake is better.
Yes,
the original, that you watch it and they just like they're having fun. I mean, it's like they just started drinking and they were just like, hey Joey, you finished your Vegas act tonight. Let's film another scene. It seemed almost just kind of loosely made in a way. Let's say I love the Frank Sinatra as the lead, but no, the remake is loads better.
No, I agree 1,000%. I think Ocean's 11 is one of my favorite movies of all time. The original is just that. It's just those guys hanging out.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of rehearsal.
It was made just to have the chairman of the board and his Rat Pack together.
Yeah, let's just get everybody together in Vegas to shoot for a few hours. But not so good. So good call there, BuzzFeed. You got one right. All right, here's where it gets fun. So we're going to talk about the next one, number 4. This is Cape Fear from 1991 over the original from 1962.
Yeah, we talked about this when we did the podcast. Luckily I watched both of them back to back, and I watched the remake first and the original second, and I watched the original so much more tension filled, if that makes sense. And it's Roger Mitchum just, playing this menacing guy, but it's so understated. Whereas the Robert De Niro villain is just like,
Come out, wherever you are.
Off the rails, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like Scorsese just let him go. It was just like, wow, and then with the speaking in tongues and the quoting of the Bible like he was doing, it's just too campy,
Yeah, I agree. I like the original much more. Not that I love Joe Don Baker. We just lost him, by the way. Sorry.
I know.
I love Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese, but this is one of those ones that it just seemed like a weird choice for Scorsese. It still seems out of character for him to do a movie like this. And,
when do you think they'll remake Congo? I'm thinking. Speaking of Joe Don,
not soon enough.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear you. And I don't want to smell you. Now leave.
All right, so they got that one wrong. So let's look at the number 3 on the list. This is The Thing from 1982 versus the Thing from 1951. James Arness.
Again, I can't go back when I said it earlier about The Fly. It's just similar to me. This is we're talking about what 1982, 1981. The effects were so much better then, and it really does. It makes the difference. The body horror again is what's that movie's known for, and it really works well for a movie with something that's, just an indescribable kind of alien presence.
I got to agree with you because you finally shamed me to the point where I actually saw The Thing all the way through from 1982 a few months ago. And I agree. It was a very captivating film. The Thing That Conquered the World, I think was the original title from 1951. Yeah. It was good. I see it every year because it's what they're watching in Halloween at the end with Kyle Richards and that Billy Mummy-looking kid. We're watching that on the TV when Michael Myers is outside. I watched it every year a little bit. But I got to agree that the John Carpenter's The Thing from 82 is much better.
Sorry, James Arness.
So for the home stretch here. So number 2 on the list is Scarface from 1983 versus its original from 1932.
Apples and oranges. I can't.
Yep.
I don't know why they picked that. Those two movies are at this core just totally different, and I can't. For me, this was like the ultimate push. I can't out to lunch on this one.
Yeah, we disqualify this one because they're just too dissimilar. Scarface, another. If you haven't heard our version on that, we did a podcast on that last year. We encourage you to listen to that. That's one of our favorite episodes of all time. There's a lot to talk about there.
The only similarity is that the lead characters are both owls.
Yeah, that's about it. So there you go. All right, the number 1 on the list, believe it or not, Mike, is Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978. Trumping its original from 1956.
Yeah, I gotta agree. The original has one of the best. I like the ending of the original better than the 70 version, but overall for creepiness and just the vibe it gives off, the Donald Sutherland. Leonard Nimoy, Jeff Goldblum version is so much better.
Horrifying endings of all time. Yeah, so there you go. There's 10, and we agreed on 6 of them, Mike. So maybe we're not as lovely as we think. I don't know.
I still don't like BuzzFeed, but it's not as bad as I thought it'd be.
Wasn't a complete burnout.
I was ready just to be Mussolini from the balcony on that list, but it wasn't that bad.
All right, that's all right. So having said that, let's kind of wrap it up here. So if you'd like to be heard for some reason, you can check us out on Instagram. We're at the appropriately titled Grumpy Nostalgia. We also have a YouTube channel called Grumpy Nostalgia. Check it out. Maybe you'll be the one. Who knows?
Yay!
Not a lot of traffic there. Sorry to say. You can check us out on our website. That's at grumpynostalgia.buzzsprout.com. That's got an archive of all of our shows, including information about what we listen to and who we are. So there you go. Check that out. If you're just new and starting a podcast, don't use us as the model, but if you want to get your show out there, please contact us. We'd be more than happy to do an ad swap with you, where you can cut us a small little 30-second or 1-minute commercial. We'd be happy to run that mid-roll for you. If you'd like to get your show out there, please let us know. We'd be happy to accommodate you.
Right.
So we're going to say goodbye to Mike, just temporarily. It's not a John and Yoko situation here, but Mike has some book commitments here in the next few weeks. So
I gotta score some steroids.
That's right. In the interim, we're going to find a very special mystery guest who's going to sit in for at least one, maybe two shows that will kind of carry the burden that Mike has in that chair every week, every episode. So
I got to check myself in Shutter Island, maybe.
That's right. So we look forward to having a special mystery guest join us here in the next couple of shows. So we hope you'll join us for that as well. All right. So Mike, that's going to kind of wrap it up. Anything else you want to say to our friends before we get out of here tonight?
Now remember, I can break your neck like a chicken.
Mike, as your court-appointed theatrical agent, I must recommend that we call it a night. All right, so for Mike James, this is Justin, and we will see you again next time.
Stop it!